All right, class, you ready for today's lesson? Did everyone finish their homework from yesterday? Okay, great. Now we're going to move forward to the second part of this lesson that's related to formulas from geometry. And there's three different parts of geometry. The first is called the perimeter. The second is called an area. And the third is the volume. First, we're going to discuss perimeter. Does anybody know what that means? Good. Does anyone have anything else to add about the meaning of perimeter? Okay, so perimeter is measuring the sides of something. We have the length and we have the width. Say the length is 5 feet and the width is 10 feet. So how would we figure out how to use that in real life? Can someone give me a real life example? Maybe something that you'd find on a farm? What's something that you'd use perimeter for on a farm? A fence, correct. A fence would have 4 sides, and you would need to measure each side and find out how many feet you would need. So then you would go to the store and you would know how many feet of fence supplies that you would need to build it. And that's called the perimeter of how many sides added up all together in order to find how many feet you would need for a fence. Okay, moving on to area. That's also measured in feet, and we would need to know the surface area in a certain amount of space, and you need to know that amount. Is there an example of what you would use surface area for? Something in real life? Carpet, yeah. Another example, does anybody have another example that you use surface area for? Gardening, correct. Anyone know another example? Yeah, when you use flooring and you want to know how many tiles you would need in that flooring. Yeah, great job. Another example of an area of something, a roof. Yeah, correct. You would need to know the surface area of a roof. All right, moving on to volume. Does anyone know what that means? A volume of an object has the length, the width, and now a height. So you would need to know all of those sides together to find the volume of it. Correct. Okay, so there's two parts of a perimeter, the length and the width. And the perimeter has 2 widths and 2 lengths. And the width would be the same measurement, and the lengths would always be the same measurement as well. And all you would need to do is add those together, all 4 parts, to find the perimeter of an object, and that's how you would find the perimeter. And there's several different ways to find the perimeter and how many feet that would be. The first way would be 2 lengths plus 2 widths. That would be one way to find the perimeter of something. There's another way to find the perimeter. You would use the length plus the length plus the width plus the width. There's one more way to find a perimeter. Thank you. That's correct. You do figure out the length plus the width and then multiply that by 2. Okay, is everyone good on perimeter? Do they understand all 4 sides together is how you would find the perimeter? Now let's move on to the area of something. You would multiply the length times the width. That's it. There's only one way to find the area of something, the width times the length. There's not 3 different ways to find it like the perimeter, just one way. So let me give you an example. If the length of something was 5 feet and the width of something was 3 feet, You'd multiply 3 times 5. And what would the answer be? 15, correct. That's it. Is there something I'm forgetting here? Right. You need the squared because it's multiplied. So 15 feet squared. That's correct. Great. Now we're moving on to volume. So again, the length times the width times the height. So unlike perimeter, where there's 3 different ways to solve the perimeter, the area has just the one multiply, the only one way to multiply the length times the width, and the area also has only one way to solve it, which is the length times the width times the height. So now going back to perimeter, here's an example of the perimeter. If you have 3 feet as the width and 5 feet as the length, how would you solve that problem? 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 5 equals 16. That's correct. Now moving on to area. How would you figure out this area? How would you solve it? 3 is the width and 5 is the length, and you just multiply those two numbers. So 3 times 5 equals 15 feet squared. Right, good job. So the answer is 15 feet squared. All right, now we're going to move on to volume. So we're going to multiply the length times the width times the height. What's the number for the length in this problem? 5. And we're just going to switch out the length, the variable number for 5. And we're going to switch out the width for 3. And again, same thing for the height, we're going to switch out for 6. What word describes this? Substitution is where we switch out the numbers. Kind of like if you are at a competition and for sports, say, and you need to switch out a player, for example, if a player got hurt or is tired, you would substitute that player for a new player that is able to continue on the game. So just like that, we would substitute these numbers, and you would take 5, multiply it times 3, which is 15, and multiply that by 90. That's it. So your answer would be 90, correct. Good job, guys. And the label on here is 90 cubic centimeters. Don't forget that because we multiply it 3 times. That's how we get the 3 and it's cubed. So 90 cubic centimeters would be your answer. Great job, guys.